Okay, so this is the podcast. This is the first of its kind podcast. It's an RTS talk. We're going to talk about game mechanics and how RTS is coming back. RTS, for the uninitiated, that means real-time strategy game. It means it's a game plays out in real time, not turn-based strategy game. Recently, real-time strategy games have been coming around a lot more. We want to talk about some certain games, especially older ones, that we think were great.
Good.
So we've got Lara Croft and Stitch on the other line telling us about RTS games, the ones they've played, and why they liked it. And to Warcraft first, because that's one that you can talk about. So, yeah, the first game in the order that we're going to talk about is Warcraft.
I mean, the single player for Warcraft is very standard to any RTS, really. The teams are drastically split up, apart from the orcs. Humans are relatively similar, but between the undead, quite a drastic change between how those. The orcs and the humans are very typical base building, build up your units, you kind of buy those resources into your bigger units later. The Night Owls have their like orb system thing, where the orbs kind of tack onto structures and you use them to build your bigger unit, which I guess puts you at a slight disadvantage because you don't have those units to use for anything else. But your units that you actually build up to, I suppose, are stronger to start off with. I don't really know. And then my favourite was the undead, which is just sacrificing everything.
Why do you think Warcraft lived so long? Like every LAN party that I've ever been to, there was always a crowd of people that played Warcraft. And I know I've joined them a bunch of times, but I never played vanilla Warcraft, so I wouldn't know what the actual appeal of the game was.
Oh. What I wanted to say, she also said it's the moddability. So you can... Warcraft 3 lived so long because people just modded the shit out of it. So when I at least played it at LAN parties, we didn't play the vanilla RTS mode. We played Tower Defense mode, where you just played Tower Defense, for example, and it was major fun.
And typically you're not even playing with the normal races and stuff in the game.
Didn't Dota become a thing because of a Warcraft mod?
That's what I wanted to say next. Like, and it spawned Dota and like League of Legends, all the MOBA shit. You wanted to play Dota before Dota, then you fucking played Age of Empires Warcraft 3. Yeah.
It was much better than Dota as well because it didn't have the salty community.
I mean, I got pretty salty at LAN parties when we played the thing with the heroes. I always got the spiky... What was it? The spiky bug? It's from the undead. It's basically in the normal game a pretty good unit from the undead.
Or like, one of the higher units that you can only have a certain number of. Well, I guess like boss unit, I guess would be the term for it.
Yeah. And the daughter spawn, or the daughter, basically where it started, that was my favorite hero because you could develop spikes on it. So if people attacked you, they just basically get their own damage back. So you just punch me and punch my spikes and you die.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, but that's about Warcraft 3. Do you have anything else to say to the base mechanics?
The multiplayer was its main driving factor. The single player was kind of not mediocre. It was just standard RTS. There was nothing that's special. Player and finished it, but I don't know. Anything that was impressive for that game would have been oblivious to me.
So single player wasn't that impressive, I guess.
Anything that would have looked impressive to me would have been lost on. Wouldn't it? Yeah. I guess. Weird comparison, but it was.
No, I can totally see it. I mean, we've all played Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne, I guess, because that was the version that we all played, I think, right? What's Frozen Throne?
Not me at first. My expansion pack wouldn't register and then I had to wait.
So you didn't play Frozen Throne, you played the regular?
No, I did, but my key was null. Someone had managed to register my sealed copies key.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, I did play it eventually.
We should probably get into DRMs at the end of this as well at some point. So I'm going to add DRMs to things that we should talk about.
Tando running on a modern system. That's a really funny quirk when you try to play that game multiplayer, because at some point it desyncs and both people just play on their own and both will win. And then they're like, no, I won.
I know exactly what you mean. That same thing happens a lot in Age of Empires and vanilla Age of Empires at least. And that's actually a great segue. Maybe we should go on into the next game? Or want to add some more stuff about Warcraft?
I'm good.
Okay, so that's a great segue to get into the next game that I want to talk about, Age of Empires, which is my personal absolute favorite game ever. But that would be talking about the second one. And today I actually want to talk about the first one, because the Age of Empires Definitive Edition is on the horizon right now. And by the time this video might come out, or by the time this podcast might come out, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition might already be on Steam for people to play. And I think the hype train is real for that one. And I can very much see why, because the Age of Empires community has been active since 1997, even earlier than that. And Age of Empires 2 community has been active since 1999. And they're still huge, big enough that they're still invited to games conventions, like in 2019, which is insane that the game is fucking 20 years old and still going. That community won't let it die. But that's Age of Empires 2.
They're pretty good people. You can see how they care about the game, how much stuff they made by themselves. And I think they will be really happy if they get to see their favorite game again, but in a upgraded edition.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think Age of Empires 2 became so popular because it was incredibly well balanced. You know, most RTS games are based on that whole rock, paper, scissors theme, where you have one unit that is good against another unit, which is good against the next unit. And it's incredibly easy to understand there. You've got basic spear unit, basic cavalry unit, and basic archer unit. So spear defeats cavalry, cavalry defeats archer, archer defeats spear, right? And then you mix it up a little bit more with some other units. But that's the basic thing that is a core for gameplay. When we eventually talk about the game in a bit more in depth, I can rant on forever about trash units and the using monks and using towers and why Koreans are hated in that game. Not the nationality, but the game civilization.
I'm looking forward to that.
Here's the thing. Age of Empires 1 Definitive Edition has been out for, I think, about a year now almost. Quite a while at least. And it's been on Steam for a few months now. And
I still didn't buy it.
Yes, almost no one bought it. I don't think many people went for it. No, I've actually got no one to play it with. When I play it with anyone, it's usually with someone from another country. And here's what I think is the first really huge thing that I noticed is there's no inbuilt recording. That just hurts the game. You can't record the game. You can see the statistics at the end, but not just for what you did wrong, but nowadays a lot of games exist in that digital market that is YouTube. There's a streamer out there that will play your game on YouTube that is going to make your game more popular. And I mean, that is very right now because PewDiePie is going to play Age of Empires Definitive Edition 2. It's going to explode when that happens. It's going to explode. It is going to... I think maybe he already did. I don't watch him, so I'm not sure.
I didn't see that yet. I mean, you know what he did to Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
That's not that old.
And Amnesia. Amnesia wasn't big before him.
True.
I don't think he was responsible for Minecraft, but he was definitely responsible for Amnesia. I think Minecraft would have been a big hit with or without him. But I can't tell, of course, because he happened and it's a big game now.
Yeah, but Minecraft was dying in popularity. Not dead, but it was definitely dwindling. And then PewDiePie comes along and, oh no, second bit, everyone's back on it. Like, life, kind of.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe that was it.
The life better for games because PewDiePie nowadays, or like a lot of kids, just look at what what's PewDiePie playing is also what they play.
Is he playing Fortnite?
No, he's not playing. What he did for beating T-Series, but that was just to try beating T-Series.
Means your game's gonna get infested with a bunch of kiddos. So nine-year-old army is actually getting back to the game.
Yeah, we should get back to the game. So
the way I played it was because it was included with our first computer. It was Pac-Man.
Yes, that's actually something that happened for so many people. Got
Microsoft, and Microsoft has Windows, and they just, hey, look, our game, and then we played it. I'm gonna install for Windows software on the old machine.
So you're gonna actually be playing Age of Empires on a Windows 98.
98. Yeah, I have the deluxe edition from back then. It was like one DVD with Age of Empires 1, the add-on for that, Age of Empires 2, and the add-on for that. Told about. It's also from 99, and I told you how good it runs on modern systems, so it's actually the only way to really play it, because on modern systems just unsynced. So I have to get like another old system and link it up with an Ethernet cable and then just play this game. Because I really want to play it again.
I've got a Windows 98. You could probably get it to run at yours, so we should totally play that.
And then just do VPN, be in one network.
Yeah, sure. Anyways, to move on to the games, what I wanted to say earlier, Age of Empires, is that I got into it because it came with a cereal box. I remember
What?
You got a free trial of Age of Empires with, I think it was Crunchy Nuts.
We don't have them here.
It's cereals, breakfast cereals.
Okay, with nuts, I suppose.
With peanuts, yes. It's really delicious. Peanuts with honey. They came with those.
Like a CD.
Yeah, there was a CD in there as a kid's special. You know, it was already old by then because I probably played it in I mean, I was born in 94. So the game came out when I was 5 years old. I don't think I played it at that point. I'm pretty sure I probably played it when I was 10, something like that, maybe. I can't tell anymore. It was the first game I played. So it came with that cereal. So that's a lot of childhood memories for me, right?
So those CDs you get packed in with cereals. I have an interesting tale with them. I would have similar things. I would have like mainstream games on them and also some like really strange independent stuff. Remember, this was packaged with breakfast cereals, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would also contain adult content.
Oh yes, they so many times did. I remember that I had that as well. I had Caesar 3 from a Games Fun CD that came with some kind of toy, I think. I don't remember how I got it. Maybe it was with a magazine actually. But either way, it was filled with so much not appropriate for children things.
Oh yeah, this was kind of cryptic though. So you boot up into like the mainstream, into like the popular titles. It was too long ago to remember what they were, but titles that you were actually getting the disc. You'd have some independent crap you never heard of, and then tucked away in the little corner there was this little button. You click that, and then here was the animation and like pornographic puzzles and.
Computer games did not have big scrutiny for a long time. I mean, until I think it was the coffee incident with GTA. I think that was the catalyst for most of the downfall of hidden sex things in games.
Yeah, there was like some game files left over or something in the game code. If you tweaked the game slightly, it was playable or something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous though because it's GTA. I mean, that's the game where you kill hookers all the time.
That's the game where you get a hooker, you enjoy your experience, and then proceed to murder her to get a refund.
Yes, yes. Oh god. Okay, we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. And I also found the picture of the city, Kellogg's Age of Empires. That was a thing. Yeah. That was a thing.
Oh, yeah. You would also see stuff like that with like the Microsoft and heck, even the Burger King logo tied together. All sorts of weird shit. 2000s.
That's just stuff that happened.
My parents are hippies, so I never got to go to McDonald's at the time.
It's McDonald's.
Nom. Burger.
Anyways, there's more reasons why I think that Age of Empires Definitive Edition, the first one, Age of Empires 1 Definitive Edition, is not rocking out right now. And one more reason is that there's not actually a lot of that rock, paper, scissors theme that modern RTS games have. It didn't go through too much balancing because I've played it online a few times. There's a very broken unit in it. It's called the Assyrian Chariot Archer. Basically, when you used to play that game on old servers with the old original game, unmodified anything, everyone would either play Egyptians, Hittites, or Assyrians, and they would all just try to be the first people that would get the Chariot Archer because that unit was so cheap, you could spam it, and the game was over. That's it. And everyone just did that.
Chariot Archer, that kind of reminds me of one of the castle units from Age of Empires 2. You know, the chariot that just basically shoots the same arrows as the...
As a Scorpion, you mean the Korean war wagon, yeah.
Yeah, is it kind of like that?
No, it's entirely different. Chariot Archer is an archer in a chariot, like there were specific strategies against it, but it was worse than a Zerg rush. Like for a while, StarCraft was dominated with Zerg rushers. All you could do was try to defeat someone Zerg rushing you. Nowadays, you can play Protoss against it, and you can defeat it. It was the same thing with the Chariot Archers, only the Chariot Archers never really were fixed. So a good player that goes for full Chariot Archers is gonna defeat you in a one-on-one battle almost every time. unless they screw up somehow. So yeah, I think that's also very bad for the game. The fact that there's a strategy that can just be cheesed, and that wouldn't be a problem if they would just modify the game a bit to, make them a bit less viable. But they're not. Ensemble Studios and Microsoft Games is just keeping the game as is, and although right now
They really didn't change anything.
they changed it a tiny bit. They changed it a tiny bit. So right now you see some people going for other strategies, but you still see people with the Chariot Archer strategy dominating games.
In modern games, like, usually release the game, and in RTS, for example, after that you see how it plays and what people play, then you would like that. But of obviously for Age of Empires 1, there was no really downloadable content or something like that.
There actually was some downloadable content on the internet. Age of Empires Heaven is filled with that stuff. There was even an Lord of the Rings themed role-playing scenario.
Wow.
Yes, stuff like that is still a thing. You can modify your Age of Empires.
But it's not like by how the game engine works.
Yeah, the original game wasn't modified.
You basically release it, and then you see how it balances and how people use it, and then you balance, like, you tweak the knobs. It's silly that it didn't do that like years after the release.
That's the thing. It's not just how many years after the release. They released the new games. It's the definitive edition that came out in 2018. They didn't fix the biggest issue, that was the fact that people can just spam Chariot Archers, and that's all they're gonna do.
Age of Empires 2 is just a better edition of the game for me, at least.
Yeah,
So
it's just better.
Why would I buy the first one? I know that the second one comes out. I'm just like, yeah, why would I spend money on the first one? I like the second one. I can replay the original on the deluxe edition. The DVD with all the 4 games on it. I'm gonna replay that on the retro computer, and I'm just gonna see, because I don't frankly remember how Age of Empires 1 was. Played 2 with you a lot, like on Steam. What's that edition called?
The HD edition.
Yeah, the HD.
Age of Empires HD. We should get into that one later on, but because I'll finish my rant about why Age of Empires Definitive Edition didn't work out. Actually, no, let me. I'm done here because there's more problems with it, but I'm not gonna go in too deeper with it because I guess we should do that in a later, podcast episode where we talk about the games in a bit more depth, and we're gonna go into why I think it failed a bit more, because this is by far not the only reasons. It screwed up a lot of things on launch as well.
Considering the last time I played StarCraft was in about 2006, maybe not. There was something I was running on my 2000 machine at the time.
Oh, Windows 2000.
Okay, that's 19 years ago now. Yeah, that's amazingly long time ago.
Yep, I thought I played it. I didn't say I played it recently.
Okay. See, I actually played it semi-recently. And 2 years ago, I played StarCraft 2 for a while, but I didn't like it. So when we get to that one and do a podcast about StarCraft, we definitely need to get someone else also on the podcast team to, talk about that. Someone who played it more, because I played it and I didn't like it.
But it was before I really was able to, I guess, comprehend or understand the RTS properly. So I just went back to playing Dungeon Crawlers.
So I've got 2 friends who both played that, so we can definitely talk more about it with them. We can't invite them right now. One of them because they're not around, and the other one because they have really bad internet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We could use the service to call them on the phone. That's gonna be expensive.
Yeah. No, we could definitely want to do that on Discord as well. I'm gonna do that same thing that I'm doing with you now, that we're recording separately. That way the internet bugs isn't gonna be too horrible.
Yeah.
So we're skipping StarCraft because none of us have played it much, and I'm just gonna say that I hate it, and I don't know why it's so famous. I don't get it. I don't get why it's such an esport thing. Why is this the one RTS esport that everyone knows? I don't get it. It's not that good.
Asian.
It's not just because of the Asians. Clearly, there's other people that play them, and I don't get it. It's the whole game seems to be one spam. You just get faster at the same thing. And that's basically what you do. Take one of your races, like, for example, I play Terran. I play Terran a lot. You learn one specific unit spam that you just like to do. Learn how to perfectly nail that one down, and then you just keep on doing that until you're among the top 100, top 200 players, and then maybe you start to mix it up. I just
You
want to
just
play this
explained it.
game, though.
This explained exactly why people do it. Perfect optimization feels good. Ask any speedrunner.
How fast can I get? How high can I get in the ranking? Can I be the fastest one?
But that seems so boring to me when it's linear like that. It's not like you have a lot of different options. Like,
It's just a different type of RTS, I guess. I mean, there are different subgenres, I guess.
no, I think they're very similar. But the thing is that a game like Age of Empires that I love so much, it has a lot of different ways to play it and a lot of different moments. It also plays a bit slower, the different resources and everything. StarCraft is more of a spam fest.
Oh yeah, we should also talk about resources and how different games handle them. Some games just use 1 or 2 resources for all of the game. Example, Tandor. You basically just get money and buy everything.
Yeah,
Another example is
we add that after DRMs. Definitely talk about resources in different games a lot. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Age of Empires, for example, has more. Fruity said impossible creature.
Talk about impossible creatures then, because I think it's more interesting.
Yay! That game I thought was kind of unique in the sense that you kind of obviously all your units were pre-built, but it had that weird spin where you're just kind of stapling different animals together into these clusterfucks of different animals. So as you progressed through the campaign, instead of just having your overall units that kind of just never changed, maybe minus adding some like boss units and some other RTS games, you actually kind of felt like you're collecting other creatures, even if you were just going to butcher them up and staple them onto other ones. So it had like a collectathon sort of aspect to it in a way for the single player. I mean, that's the most interesting feature to note from Impossible Creatures for me. Yeah, you literally can just like take a shark and a tiger together. Shark tiger.
Tiger Shark.
Is that the one where you just combine 2 creatures and it makes a new creature?
Yeah, but you can also pick certain limbs. Like you can have it so like just the arms of the shark is on it, and then the rest a tiger or whatever for different bonuses.
Tiger with fins.
Could you make a spider, but every leg is a snake?
The legs are one category bot.
So you couldn't. Oh, you could make a spider that has the legs of a snake. I'm not sure if this would be more or less terrifying than spiders already are.
Basically just torso, because snakes don't have any legs, right? So
Yes.
It's invisible.
Yes.
So it's just a floating spider torso.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would be terrifying. I think a floating spider torso would be terrifying.
As for the multiplayer for the game, I wouldn't know. My copy was totally legitimate, of course. I had license key. What are you on about?
Okay, and 2 things that we should definitely talk about: piracy.
But the single player was really good.
Okay, so you've played Impossible Creatures mostly in single player.
Yeah, I played a lot of it, but only single player.
All right. Great about the game. I mean, I guess I get it. The core concept seems pretty fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
RTS meets Pokemon with a slight sprinkle of the medic DF2 Stitch together.
Okay.
It exists on this.
Oh my god, is it German voice line? Is there German voice acting in there?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, voice acting in games. Another thing we're gonna add. Voice acting in RTS, because it's sometimes amazing.
Let's just say, me and friend and like extended technical school had a thing where we were just quoting the mission lines from Age of Empires in German, like
Yeah, those were amazing. Yeah.
Haben Sie meinen Bogenschützen für den Weg. Even in the German version of Age of Empires, they always had like a really distinct accent to the German, because some of them were French, some of them.
Okay, but just saying, but we should talk about that. We should talk about it at the end, because I think that merits its own episode of podcast. I think just voice acting merits its own episode. And I could go on length about this. Actually, streaming is something we should probably get into as well. Is there one more game that we want to go into? Like, I've got some more dotted down here. We've got Alien vs Predator Extinction, but I've never played that one.
That's just a weird quirky one because it came out on the PlayStation 2 X, maybe GameCube. I played it on PS2, but it's a fairly dynamic RTS in terms of the are they just called humans or marines? I'm gonna go just the humans. They're fairly standard base building, but the aliens and the predators are very unique. The aliens are all about protecting the mother to create more of the facehuggers, and then go out find the enemy team, which would be humans, and turn them into your unit. And the predators, I annoyingly forgot how they work, but they're different as well. But for a console game on that generation, it was kind of strange to see. It was only really the 360 I started to notice RTSs popping up.
That makes sense. Playing an RTS without a keyboard seems like torture to me.
I mean, it kind of works with the limited media they have, being PS2 gamepad. It kind of works.
Okay. I don't know. I can imagine that it's tedious because I hear a lot about people wanting, popular RTS games like Age of Empires to come onto the console, and I can't imagine people wanting to do that.
I agree, but I don't know. If I had a gun put to my head and was forced to play an RTS on console, Being versus Predator Extinction wouldn't be a bad one.
I guess. Also on that, the currently best esports player that I know in RTS games is the Viper, who's a guy who recently moved to Germany, and he started out playing RTS games on consoles, and he's the best now. But he switched to computer for that, obviously.
Couldn't get the best with like a fucking gamepad, I think.
Yeah, but I guess if you can play well on a gamepad, then the moment you switch on computer, you're just gonna realize how much better you are there.
One thing on the console part though, maybe if they would like bundle a keyboard and a mouse with a game, maybe that will work. Like a PlayStation keyboard and mouse. You can also on my PlayStation 3 you can just plug in a mouse and a keyboard.
Yeah, but it kind of takes out what makes it a console, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Even if you plug in a keyboard and mouse in these consoles that have these types of games, keyboard and mouse isn't even supported by the game, so it doesn't matter.
All the mouse finicky stuff, that's not gonna feel nice using it on a console because it's not made for that.
If I remember correctly, it was StarCraft. I might be wrong. I think the worst example of an RTS on a console has to be trying to do it with a Nintendo 64 controller.
Like Super Nintendo came with a proper mouse. Maybe you can find an obscure RTS for the Super Nintendo that uses the mouse. Because if you have a mouse, you can basically play RTS.
I wouldn't buy an obscure RTS one that actually worked well. I know one RTS game on a console that came out on a console and it worked. It actually worked well in that regard. It just wasn't a great game in total, and that's Brutal Legend.
It's just really simple, so the control is enough, I would say.
Yeah, it's fun for a single-player funky campaign featuring Jack Black, but the multiplayer is kind of shallow.
It didn't just feature Jack Black. It featured Ozzy Osbourne. It featured Lemmy Kilmister. Yes, please. I want to play this. The game theatrics worked.
The game worked on a theatrical level, but in terms of its actual gameplay, it wasn't.
Worked out as a hack and slash, and then didn't really commit to the RTS thing either.
See, I even played Brutal Edge, but I never get to the RTS part, so I just know it as hack and slash.
See, I know it as both. I've played it until I got to the RTS part. The part where you build up a stage and get fans, like that's just the first-person RTS. You command all the units and rally them, and I think that is a mechanic that could have been improved upon, and that could have worked great. There's a multiplayer. It's not amazing though. Like it's funny for a game that you just want to play for one time, like because you want to play as Lord Diviculus and his bondage nuns, or you want to play as King Awesome Emo Girls, or you want to play as Heavy Metal Squad, which is also awesome. Like the design and all that shit is just fuck yeah. But then the gameplay is kind of dull. So you play it one time, but then you leave it. It's great for that one time.
I beat the whole thing. It was a good game, but
I actually didn't because I encountered a bug that at the time wasn't fixed out yet, where I couldn't finish a story mode at one point, and then I just didn't get past that one. Some games just get ruined by bugs.
I mean, playing on even teams doesn't feel that different from, so it just kind of feels like a mirror match all the time, plus console RTS. At least that's how I felt about the game.
Okay. I never played it.
Okay, so TLDR, Halo Wars units are so similar that the gameplay feels like a mirror match, and AVP's units are dynamic enough that even though the controls are terrible on both, the play still was fun.
Okay. One of the last Command & Conquer ones was just, a mirror match, death match that kept going on. And it was just dull very quickly. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a very balanced game.
Well, you definitely know about the amazing cutscenes that Command & Conquer did.
Mm-hmm.
That what got me into that game. Like, at least Red Alert got me into that because, fucking yeah, Soviets, and I can play with beers and lasers. And the one that I really got into is also the one that is usually hailed as the worst one, I think. And that was the third one, Command & Conquer 3. And I actually liked the fact that you had a co-op campaign, because I don't think that I ever saw that before that. I think it was the first one that introduced me to that, to the possibility of having a cooperative campaign. It was just, that's nice, playing the campaign but playing it together. It was really cool. But other than that, the game was kind of really boring. You kind of had to keep on looking at the same things. There wasn't really a lot of variation. It ties into that resources thing that we talked about earlier, that there's not a lot of different things you can do in one situation. You kind of keep on doing the same thing again and again for a lot of these. And that's why the third one kind of sucked, but also was kind of great. It had its good and its bad. Like, it was great to play it one single time and play it through, and then never play it again, because the multiplayer kind of sucks. You just spam cure-offs. Everyone just spams cure-offs, because no other unit is worth it. And the unit chatter was a great thing for me. Like, that game just built up a very nice atmosphere overall. I think that's what Command & Conquer did really great. It built up a very nice atmosphere. And Dawn of War, Command & Conquer, and Company of Heroes, they all build up a very nice atmosphere. Like, you really feel like that unit. In Command & Conquer, you really feel like that Soviet commander that got into the time machine and killed Albert Einstein. And in Dawn of War, you really feel like well, depends on who you play as. I always play as a heretics, the Chaos Marines, or even better, as the Sisters of Battle. And you really feel like those characters. The voice acting, the world, all that ties in so greatly into that. I'm not going to get too much into that.
Immersion,
yeah. I could yammer on forever about one of those games specifically, but I shouldn't, because that's not what we're here for. But I think that was a good introduction about what we had, like, overall, all the games that we have. There's still a lot more that we didn't talk about. Like, Anno would technically be an RTS, although I wouldn't really count it as one. Now, Courtesy says that I should also talk about Stellaris, but I've got someone else who will want to talk a lot more about Stellaris. So I'm going to talk about Stellaris with them, unless you would have played the game. But I don't think you did, have you? So that's no problem.
I did not.
Say we end this podcast here. Say thanks everyone for listening, and goodbye. See you next time.
Okay. Poodle Pip, don't like, comment, and subscribe. Right, no, don't put that in.
No, fucking okay. Okay. Just as a shout out to people that are listening to this. First off, if you've got to this point, you have no fucking life, and you should get back to your life. Do your fucking homework and get back in line. Do drugs. State. Communism. That's all.
And hug pugs.
And hug pugs. Yes, hug pugs. Pugs love it. Pugs deserve it.